leader of Benny's adventure team. Any chance we could team up? Please? No one's joined me on an adventure in ages. Come on, let's go! I like all kinds of things, but most of all, I like adventures.
Teamwork is dreamwork!
What is going on, my dudes? Tystra Senpai, Build Master here, back again with another build video. Today we're going to be looking at one of the best 4-stars in the game, arguably could be a good 5-star, Bennett. But before we get into that, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. Comment down the video who your favorite 4-star or what you like best about Bennett, and hit that notification bell to be notified when a new video comes out. We're going to be posting videos as regularly as possible, but let's go ahead and talk about Bennett. Bennett is one of those characters that a lot of people slept on in the beginning of Genshin Impact. And it's quite funny to see how much of a glow up this guy has compared to his luck in, you know, the actual real world for Genshin Impact. Because his luck is crappy, but if you have Bennett, your luck is extremely, extremely good. Let's get into it. We're first going to go into, you know, talking about what his good weapons are. Now, Bennett has a very long list of weapons that work really, really well for him, but one of the best 5-star weapons you could have for him is actually the Mist Splitter. What's really good about the Mist Splitter is that you get that crit damage as your, you know, main stat, which is really, really good. Your base attack is going to go up to about 674 for it, but the effect is really, really good. And for the numbers, I'm going to go ahead and say the percentages in a row. If you hear multiple percentages, it's going to be refinement 1 to refinement 5. So here's the ability. Gain a 12%, 15%, 18%, 21%, and 24% at refinement 5. Elemental damage bonus for every element and receive the might of Mist Splitter's emblem. At stack levels 1, 2, and 3, Mist Splitter's emblem provides a 8, 6, 28, 10, 20, 35, 12, 24, 42, 14, 28, 49, and a 16, 32, and 56% at refinement 5 bonus elemental damage for the character's elemental type. The character will obtain 1 stack of Mist Splitter's emblem in each of the following scenarios. Normal attacks deals elemental damage, stacks last 5 seconds. Casting elemental burst, stack lasts 10 seconds. Energy is less than 100%, stack disappears when energy is full. Each stack's duration is calculated independently. Now, with the Mist Splitter, it's really, really good. Unfortunately, I don't have the Mist Splitter, but we'll get into the weapon that I use personally for Bennett here shortly. This weapon is very good if you've got it for Bennett, and it works very well, especially when you're trying to boost up that elemental damage. The best 4-star weapon for him, or at least between the 3 multiple builds I see, and we'll kind of go over those as well at the end, but one of the good weapons for him in 2 out of 3 of those builds is a weapon called the Alley Flash, and this is the best 4-star weapon for him if you got it. He has, or at max, it's going to be a elemental mastery of 55. So you're going to gain that 55 base, and then base attack is going to go up to 620, which is not bad, especially compared to, you know, something that gives you 674. You are going to get that 620 base attack stat. Increases damage dealt by a character equipping this weapon by 12, 15, 18, 21, and 24% respectively for your refinement. Taking damage disables this effect for 5 seconds. Now, granted, it increases your damage by a lot, but you got to make sure that when you have him out there, he's not taking damage. So a good pairing for him with this would be Zhongli. Now, another really good weapon to talk about, and this is one that I use personally because 1, it's on his list for good weapons, and 2, it's really the best weapon I got that I could use on him at the moment, is actually Skyward Blade. Now, Skyward Blade has an energy recharge percentage at max at 55.1%. Base attack is 608 at max, which is obviously really low compared to others, but that's not entirely why I'm using this one. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Crit rate increased by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8% respectively towards refinement, gains sky piercing might upon using Elemental Burst, increases movement speed by 10%, increases attack speed by 10%, and increases the damage of normal and charged attack hits by 20, 25, 30, 35, and 40% depending on refinement for 12 seconds. And the reason why I use this is, one, because the crit rate's really, really good. Two, I need the elemental recharge, or energy recharge. Sorry, elemental recharge. Energy recharge to help out with getting that alt back, because that alt is going to come in handy, and we'll get into that as well when we're talking about our talent priorities and why they're important. So energy recharge is fantastic in that sense. So obviously it's not the best one for him, but if you don't have any of the other two, I highly recommend using a Skyward Blade, because it's actually pretty decent. So with Bennett, you have multiple types of builds you could do, and I'm going to go over each and every single one and their best course of action, because I feel like if you're going to build a certain way with Bennett, you have to make sure that you're building to that specification at the top tier. Now, let's go ahead and just go over artifact sets first, and then we'll go over why the subs are good as well, like for the sub stat. Crimson Witch of Flames is probably going to be your best bet when it comes to a pure DPS build, which is why Mind Splitter is actually very good for Bennett in this course of action. It increases, or a 2-piece gives you the pyro damage of 15%. However, you also get a 4-piece bonus because of the fact that with the 4-piece you could actually get the 2-piece effects on top of it. So not only are you getting that 50% pyro damage bonus, you're getting increases overload and burning damage by 40%, increases vaporize and melt damage by 15%, and using an elemental skill increases the 2-piece set effects by 50% for 10 seconds. So you're getting a 40% to burning and overload, 15% to vaporize and melt, but you're also getting a 65% bonus to your pyro damage. And this works really well for a 6-piece Bennett, in my opinion, or a 6 Constellation Bennett, my apologies. But a lot of people don't use 6 Constellation Bennett, and we'll get to that here a little bit later. But this is definitely your best bet to combine with the weapons for your DPS. So definitely look into that if you're wanting to go DPS route. Now for sub-DPS, this is going to be where it's funny, because this set actually works for not only your sub-DPS, but for support, which is what I use for Bennett. So if you're going sub-DPS, or you're going with that, support class, you definitely want to go with something of like 4-piece Noblesse Oblige. Now, Noblesse Oblige is elemental burst damage plus 20%. And then that's for your 2-piece, but for your 4-piece, using an elemental burst increases all party members' attack by 20% for 12 seconds. And that's where this set comes in handy for Bennett, because Bennett with that sub-DPS role is not going to be out on the field for too long. What he's going to be doing, he's going to come out, he's going to hit the monster or anything like hilly churl, slimes, whatever. He's going to hit it or pop his alt, switch, and then you're going to get that damage bonus of 20 seconds to help you out from there. So it's definitely really cool to see that not only does the sub DPS benefit from a 4-piece Noblesse Oblige, but my support section does also get that Noblesse Oblige buff. So with the subsets of each one, let me be clear that this is going to be where it differs between each and every set of class that you want to go with Bennett. So if you're going with a DPS build, your Sands, the main stat, wants to be attack percentage or elemental mastery. Your Goblet wants to be pyro damage bonus, and then your Circlet wants to be crit rate or crit damage. With your substats, you're going to want it to be crit rate or crit damage as your first priority. Your second priority being elemental mastery to get extra damage on those, overload or like vaporize and stuff. Your third is you want to focus on attack percentage, with your energy recharge being the last one to worry about. Just make a note of this too. You can go for elemental mastery, but I highly recommend personally that if you're going to use like weapons like the Iron Sting, you want to use more attack percentage than you want elemental mastery. With your sub DPS, you want to worry about your Sands being attack percentage / energy recharge, so either of the two will kind of work. Goblet, you want it to be a pyro damage bonus, and then for your Circlet, you obviously want that crit rate and crit damage. Sounds about normal for that. And then, of course, your substats, you want to focus more on crit rate, crit damage as your main priority, attack percentage as your next priority, energy recharge, and then elemental mastery. If you really want to prioritize energy recharge for sub DPS, that works too. It's not a bad gig, that's for sure. And then for support, this is exactly what I did for my Bennett, was energy recharge and HP for your sands. HP percentage to be more precise, because you want higher HP to make sure that you're getting more of that more health back. Goblet, you want it to be HP percentage as well. And then Circlet, you want healing bonus percentage or HP percentage. For me personally, I went more healing bonus percentage, I believe. And then from there, you want for your main stats, or sorry, substats, energy recharge as your main priority, because you want to make sure to get your ult off as much as possible. You want to put HP percentage as your second main stat or trying to go for artifact rolls, and then flat HP. These will definitely help you out in the long run, especially if you're running support, which I personally recommend. Little note, actually, I went HP percentage for my circlet, which still works out very, very well. So now let's talk about talent priority. This is actually very crucial depending on the builds that you want to do. So for DPS, what you're really wanting to focus on is getting that skill damage, because you're going to hold that down to get more damage, because with his skill, you actually hold down your bumper if you're using a controller, or I don't know what it is for PC. You hold it down, and the longer you hold it, the more damage you're going to do to your enemy. So you want to focus skill for your DPS. Even if you don't hold it down, it's still going to do a decent amount of damage, followed by your burst just to make sure you get that healing, and then of course your normal attack. Your skill is going to come back constantly. So it's best to just put it into your skill, especially if you just do the regular tap of the trigger. Now, for sub DPS, you want to focus on burst as your main priority, because of the fact that you are going to be needing that attack percentage when you switch back to another character. This is crucial, because this is something that a lot of people forget, that not only does Bennett's little burst heal, but it also buffs your attack. So be wary of that. Absolutely be wary of that. And then obviously your second priority being his skill, his little tap, because you're going to want to get that sub DPS in. And then of course for your support, if you're just running a complete support build like I am, the only thing you got to worry about is your burst, because again, you're going to put him out there, you're going to activate his ult, you're going to switch into what you need to get that attack bonus and the healing. So really, it's a pretty easy comparison to see like how easy it is to build a support Bennett to how you build a DPS Bennett. And to be honest, I kind of went more of the easy route, because support Bennett actually worked out for me at the time. I was using Hu Tao on top of that, and Zhongli had just gotten his companionship to 10. So I needed to find something that was going to benefit my Hu Tao with not only attack, but also keeping her from dying because she didn't have a shield. So Bennett is actually very good for that. Now, here's something that everybody has been kind of waiting for me to talk about, because this is crucial. Now, as you could probably see on my screen, the Constellation seems a little bit iffy, and I kind of want to go over this because a lot of people talk about this. You could hear other YouTubers like Tectone and Mtash talk about this. The Constellation thing is it's a very weird thing, because when you get Constellation, it's supposed to be beneficial to you. This isn't always the case, and especially for what you want to build your Bennett regardless, that's where this kind of is rough. So let's go over this. First Constellation, Grand Expedition, Fantastic Voyage's attack increase no longer has an HP restriction and gains an additional 20% of Bennett's base attack. Now, getting Bennett's base attack is really, really good, and giving that extra 20% is like amazing, and it helps out your character so much. That's where a sub DPS build or even a DPS build is very beneficial. When for Impasse Conqueror, when Bennett's HP falls below 70%, his energy recharge is increased by 30%, which is fantastic because your healing only goes up to, I believe, 75% for when you pop his ult. So that's perfect. And then for Unstoppable Fervor, you gain 3 with a maximum being increased by 15 for your Passion Overload. For Constellation level 4, using a normal attack when executing a second attack of Passion Overflow's charge, level 1 allows an additional attack to be performed. This additional attack does 135% of the second attack's damage. This is amazing with how much damage that he could actually pull out. Constellation 5, True Explorer, increases the level of Fantastic Voyage by 3. Maximum upgrade level is 15 now. Now here's where everything becomes bad. So, fire adventures with me. Sword, claymore, or polearm wielding characters inside Fantastic Voyage's radius gain a 15% damage bonus for pyro, and their weapon are infused with pyro. Now, you may be thinking, why is this so bad? You're getting a 15% pyro damage bonus. It's that last part. Their weapon is infused with pyro, which means that every character that you have turns into a pyro character. Now, what if you're facing off against a pyro slime and you activate this? Now you're stuck because you can't do any damage unless you use your skills. Now, granted, that doesn't seem so bad, but the fact that, you know, you're having to use your skills on slimes, which are very low level monsters to deal with, is bad. Is very, very bad. And that's where a lot of people they've seen that this Constellation 6 is one of the worst things for Bennett. So you always, if you get to where you have a Constellation 6, do like me right now and keep that Constellation off of Bennett. Leave them at Constellation 5. Keep the extra one until they toggle on and off. If they do, let me know in the comments, you know, later on down the road. But do not put Constellation 6 into Bennett. It is so crucial for everyone not to do that. Now, from personal experience with Bennett, I love him. He is such a good character. One of the best 5 stars. Best 4 stars in the game, which is sad because honestly at this point he feels like a 5-star with what he could do. Again, my only issue is that 6 Constellation, but Bennett does well with any team that he's on. Honestly, I recommend him for anything. Any team. Any team comp will work perfect for him so long as he doesn't have that 6th Constellation. And it really benefits your characters. Like, say, again, I'm going to use Hu Tao, for example, because we already did a build guide with her. With Hu Tao, it's hard because you want your HP low, but you also want to make sure that if you don't have that defensive character like Zhongli, Noelle, Diona that are helping with a shield, you got to have something to be able to give you a little bit of leeway with what you could do. And with putting as much energy recharge into Bennett as you can, your ult is going to go off consistently. It makes it so that you don't have to worry about what happens with Hu Tao, because if she gets hit, like, that's fine because her HP is going to be as high as it possibly can. Now, Bennett is going to obviously offset that, and it works for every single character you put him with. You could put him with Ganyu, Zhongli, Chongyun, Xingqiu, freaking even like people like Diona and Xinyan who are defensive based. You could put them with Bennett and they'd be perfectly fine. Bennett is a benefit to any team that you put on. And honestly, like, you could see with the gameplay that I provided that Bennett is helping more than harming, especially with just Constellation 5. Again, guys, I have to stress, do not put that 6th Constellation into Bennett. You're only going to hurt yourself in the long run if you do this. It's crucial that you don't. So I will definitely say that Bennett is one of the best characters in the game. One of, if not the best 4-star, rivaled with only a couple of different ones, and we'll get into those a little bit later as well. But Bennett, you get 10 out of 10. You are a fantastic character. I love you. You're awesome. And I hope that everybody who plays Genshin Impact gets Bennett to some capacity. And that, my friends, is how I built Bennett. Now, let me know in the comments below how you built Bennett and why you built him the way that you did. I love hearing around the community different builds for different characters that even, you know, I could always go, you know what, maybe that's good. I always want to make sure that I provide the best builds that I can make so that you guys can improve on it and tell me how you made those builds better, especially like when we did the Hu Tao video. And I hope that you guys continue to enjoy this series. This is one that I think is going to be really, really fun to make. And let me know in the comments which one you guys would like me to review next. Is there something in particular you guys want me to actually put out there for a build? Let me know. As always, guys, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to entertain you. Don't forget to hit that like comment, subscribe down below, and hit that notification bell to be notified of when the next video comes out. But once again, this is Tystra Daisetsu saying thank you, love you guys to death, and please be safe out there.